What's up, everybody? Good to see you. Good to see you. Got my coffee. Got my
Come on.
fake news
You
button.
Fake news. Okay, you fake news.
So we're ready to go. And this is gonna be the last live stream that I do from the desk here for about a week because I gotta pack my bags. I gotta get my stuff ready. I'll be heading to LA tomorrow, Southern California, for the Dimensions of Disclosure conference. Stoked for that. You guys are gonna be getting plenty of good content on this channel next week from my time there. But we can talk about that another day. What do we got on the agenda for this brief, for this update? We're going to be going through some of the latest in regards to Epstein, of course. But what's really getting me excited this morning is that NBC, they're going on pretty much a full-scale attack against the Epoch Times media company. But they're also attacking the Edge of Wonder. Yes, the Edge of Wonder is getting featured prime time on NBC. NBC was even playing David Wilcox clips from the interviews that he did with Edge of Wonder on Rachel Maddow's show. I kid you not. Holy crap. Stuff's going mainstream. It's heating up, truly. And all this happening right before I'm going to see the Edge of Wonder guys and David Wilcox and all them this weekend. So it's crazy stuff going on. We'll take a look at all that. Some other things in regards to the Google whistleblower, some of Google's struggles, and then some. So let's get started. Let's get a little bit more caffeine in our blood. And we're ready to go. So first of all, shout out to a sponsor of this channel, the Q Coin, the Great Awakening coin. Neat gifts. Company that makes these also makes commemorative Donald Trump coins. They make American flag, bricks of silver. Just a lot of good commemorative way to keep some precious metal holdings on hand. And if you go to greatawakeningcoin.com, promo code Jordan, you can get $5 off, 2 coins, keep one, gift another. So go check it out. Links for all that will be below. And now let's get into Epstein. So, I think I reported on this a few days ago. Anyway, this video surfaces, Daily Mail reports on it, where Prince Andrew was seen inside Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan mansion. This was a video that was taken like 9 or 10 years ago, and there's Jeff Epstein walking out of his mansion. Maybe they have clips of it in here. There's a mystery woman with Epstein, and then you see Prince Andrew right there behind the door. So Daily Mail figured out who the mystery brunette was in that video, and it's the daughter of former Australian Prime Minister Paul Keating. Her name's Catherine Keating. Whoa! That's some pretty high up folks, right? International connections. Connections to former prime ministers there. Wow, all this stuff coming to light. Things that we've been hearing about for weeks, if not months, if not, well over a year now, through Q. Who went to Epstein's island? Who's connected to him, right? So, and how about some more connections with Catherine Keating? Here's a photograph of her with Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell. This is from 2013, and this was actually taken at Maxwell's home during an event they threw there. Follow the connections, guys. Just follow that money, follow those connections, and you can expose quite a bit of stuff. Now, how about Prince Andrew being appalled by Jeffrey Epstein's suicide? Oh, wow. Appalled. And he's denying any role in any sort of these allegations or any role in any of that illegal criminal activity when, I mean, he's inside the house. He was inside Epstein's home. How do you not know? Well, I could have sworn those teenagers didn't look like teenagers. Oh, God. Of course he's going to deny any role. Jeez. So that's that. And how about Bill Gates also distancing? Also, well, he's not even talking to reporters. So the Daily Mail's been trying to get some of Bill Gates's comments on this situation since it was found that he took a flight on Jeff Epstein's Big Lolita Express, basically his pedophile plane. Bill Gates took a flight on that plane after Jeff Epstein's release from prison. So basically, it's like, how the hell do you not know? You can't play stupid. Prince Andrew, you can't play stupid. Bill Gates, his spokespeople, won't even comment. Dark to light. All these false idols. All these folks that are placed in positions of, quote, authority within the halls of whatever you want to call it, media, politics, science, they're all liars. They're all fakers, frauds. All the information they bring us to is also fake. Great awakening. There you go. You got to bust down, unlearn, and then relearn the truth. And then lastly here, Ghislaine Maxwell's staged in and out photos. Like I've been saying, Daily Mail, they've been getting the deets. They've been printing a lot of these exclusives. I think they're better than the others in the mainstream realm. But Ghislaine's photo, that photo at In and Out, this one right here, there was another one where she didn't have glasses. That photo at In and Out looked to be staged photograph. And there's parts of it that look totally photoshopped. And just looking at the photographs, like, why is she posing for him? Number one, posing for him in public. She's got that book in her hands, the book that was called The Lives and Deaths of Secret CIA Operatives or something to that effect. Obviously, it was a staged photo. I mean, now that this is coming out, and hindsight's 2020, yeah, it's totally staged photo. And then with that book in her hand, yeah, message sent to who? Don't know, but nevertheless, totally staged photo. And then everybody thought that she was in LA on the West Coast when she's probably somewhere on the East Coast. Like, total misdirection there. And then the message with the book. So, can run. You can run, but you can't hide. Prince Andrew, Bill Gates, Maxwell. So that's all of that. Everything I wanted to cover in regards to Epstein this morning. Let's get into some NBC. NBC putting the heat on the Epoch Times and, by proxy, the Edge of Wonder. Ben and Rob, too. So, NBC printed this article yesterday that went fairly viral, and they devoted a lot of man-hours, a lot of their program yesterday to attacking the Epoch Times and then just weaving that false narrative through every connection they can. They were trying to smear Trump, attack conspiracy theories, attack the Epoch Times, attack Falun Gong, the Eastern Chinese spiritual religious practice. A lot of stuff. It was just a shit show. So let's get into this. So NBC News prints this article. It says Trump, QAnon, and an impending judgment day behind the Facebook-fueled rise of the Epoch Times. This was written by, of course, big surprise, Ben Collins and Brandy Zadrozny. So, the Epoch Times, if you're not familiar with that paper, that media outlet, get familiar with them because they print great news. They print great news. Here's one example. Last year, about exactly a year ago now, when Q really went mainstream at the beginning of August 2018, 40, 50 articles one day, first week of August, boom, QAnon is all over the mainstream news. The Epoch Times, one of the reporters, Josh Phillips, reached out to me, and I did an interview with the Epoch Times about QAnon. It was the only truthful, honest segment that I saw in, I guess we could call the Epoch Times mainstream. I mean, they're reaching a mainstream population. The only honest mainstream piece on QAnon during that time frame. All the rest sucked. So it's no doubt because the Epoch Times is printing truth, they're printing a lot of great stuff on Spygate, FISA-gate, whatever you want to call it, the spying on Trump and his campaign during the election. Because they're printing so much truth, no doubt NBC is scared. The deep state corporate media conglomerate is scared because they're losing so many views, but they're losing all of their credibility. The Epoch Times is just blowing past them on a fraction of the budget with a fraction of the staff. It's incredible what truthful reporting will get you these days. You don't need millions of dollars funneled into your CNN or Washington Post slush fund to fund it. But here we go. They say there's no bigger advocate, President Donald Trump on Facebook, than the Epoch Times. They're calling them a small New York-based nonprofit news outlet. First lie right there. They're no longer a nonprofit, but we can get to more important facts. Let's see, they're spending about $1.5 million on a bunch of pro-Trump advertisements, etc., etc. They're peddling conspiracy theories about the, quote, deep state, criticizing, quote, fake news, etc., etc. They say behind the scenes, the media outlet's ownership and operation is closely tied to Falun Gong. All right, former practitioners of Falun Gong say they're basically, I mean, it's pretty sad how they're smearing this whole spiritual practice that has been persecuted in China. If you actually research Falun Gong, and its fairly recent rise in popularity, really over the last 25, 30 years. It's just a spiritual practice based on the Tao with a lot of body work thrown into it, a lot of Qigong and whatnot, and then a spiritual practice of basically do no harm, truth, integrity, compassion. Like, what is there to attack? Unless you're a sick bastard who's just threatened by truth and honesty. Well, NBC is, no doubt, along with the communist government in China, along with what looks to be the rest of the fake news media right now. So here, like I said, the NBC, they devoted a lot of time and effort into smearing Falun Gong, Epoch Times, etc. last night. Ben Collins here, what a great face. He just stutters. He terribly stutters through every segment he does. It's very difficult for me to watch him or listen to his words. So Ben Collins and then Brandy here, roll him out. They rolled him out on multiple segments during their broadcast yesterday, national broadcast. Here they are with a lot of false reporting on the Epoch Times right here. They claim that Falun Gong started the Epoch Times, or the creators of Falun Gong had a direct tie with who created the Epoch Times. One of these headlines right here, the Epoch Times quietly runs one of the largest QAnon YouTube channels. QAnon channels on YouTube. They're referencing the Edge of Wonder, which that again is fake. The Epoch Times does not run the Edge of Wonder. Edge of Wonder is produced solely by Ben and Rob. Okay? Trust me, I've been with them on production sets. Right? No ties there. Epoch Times doesn't run it. So they're just lying through their teeth. Either they're two of the biggest idiots to ever walk this planet, or they're just lying through their teeth. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I think maybe both. So that's that. And then not just various segments throughout the day, but check this. Rachel Maddow, prime time. She devoted probably 20 minutes out of her, 40, 50 minutes show. 40 minutes, like half of her show, to just spreading all this bullshit about Falun Gong, trying to say that people who follow Falun Gong and the creator of it are all crazy. They don't even discuss the Taoist principles or the Qigong principles behind it and the history of the spiritual practice and how it was persecuted by the Chinese government. Don't even discuss that. They just try to paint it as crazy. And then they make this very loose connect between Falun Gong and the Epoch Times. Oh, this Epoch Times newspaper came out of nowhere, and now they're one of Trump's biggest supporters on the internet. And then they go into, again, this piece that was released. They've been teeing this up. They've been waiting to put this out for a little while. So she goes into discussing this, and then talks about, again, the work that Epoch Times does on Spygate, some of their advertisements, just the narcissism is difficult to watch when it comes to any of these mainstream media hacks. But then they get into the Edge of Wonder. Yes, the Edge of Wonder. They were featured here in this article towards the bottom. It's a very long article. I'm not going to take the time to go through all of it, but nevertheless, the Edge of Wonder getting featured by the NBC in that article, getting featured here. Rachel Maddow, prime time. And again, Rachel Maddow makes the same false claims that the Epoch Times the Epoch Times runs Edge of Wonder, produces it. No. Edge of Wonder is independent. But here, Rachel Maddow goes, talks about some of their videos, reads off some of their video titles about the deep state, about deep state funding drug running, QAnon not being a conspiracy. Check this, okay? Not only does Edge of Wonder get a feature, I don't even think they say Edge of Wonder's name, of course. They try to claim that this is like an Epoch Times YouTube channel. But one of their interviews even gets a clip played, and guess whose interview it was? David Wilcock. They play a clip of David Wilcock's interview he did with Edge of Wonder primetime on Rachel Maddow. Never in my life would I have thought that to happen. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes David Wilcock can say things that are like so far out there, it takes a huge perspective shift to really grasp what he's saying. So it can be kind of easy to take maybe 10-second clips out of David Wilcock's speeches and then just frame some sort of shitty context around it. You can do that with anything people say. They do that with what I discuss too. But nevertheless, I mean, shoot. They're attacking Edge of Wonder. They're attacking David Wilcock, painting these people as crazy because they're over the target. They're much more on the money than all the rest of them. And then get this. Who comes on to Rachel Maddow's show to discuss these things? Oh, Brandy Zadrozny. Oh, man. She must have had a long day yesterday. Very long day. We're going to roll you out. We're going to roll you out on all these programs to spread your lies. Because we got some narratives to make. Look at that. Epoch Times is tied to this Chinese spiritual community Falun Gong. And then all of these lies, again, all of it is just such a long broadcast. But hey, how incredible. How incredible. This is going to be some great publicity, let me tell you, for the Epoch Times and the Edge of Wonder. What a great just notch on that belt. Pin right there. You know, badge of honor. Badge of honor for all of them. So keep it going, guys. Keep it going. And speaking of the Epoch Times, we'll shift topics now to talking about the Google whistleblower. So, no doubt, the Epoch Times getting attacked because they do truthful reporting. They did some truthful reporting here with the Google whistleblower Zach Voorhees at Perpetual Maniac on Twitter. But he's been doing interviews all around the place discussing the censorship that Google does, how they manipulate literally the public consciousness, the collective consciousness with their algorithm shifting, with their censorship, suppression of websites and search terms and things like that. This guy's very brave, very courageous for coming out and discussing his experience with being an engineer for Google and YouTube and seeing this firsthand, how they censor topics. And he's been talking about how Google has been censoring not just the political spectrum, conservatives and whatnot, but also alternative health websites, even alternative energy, say like free energy, for lack of a better term, but you get the gist with what I'm saying there. Free energy being suppressed by Google. So the suppression that the deep state does on their platforms, on whatever platforms they use to manipulate the public consciousness, whether it's the news media or their search engines, whatever the case, it's not just political, guys. It's anything. Anything that is threatening to them. Anything that can free somebody's thinking so they can free themselves, their body, mind, and soul from the matrix. Yeah, it's censored. So I'm trying to get Zach on my channel here, trying to get an interview with him. He's just busy right now, which is totally understandable. But one of these days, hoping to get him on, getting a quick interview of him for this channel here. And then after Trump tweeted about Google 2 days ago, Trump tweeted, wow, it was found that Google manipulated all this stuff during the 2016 election and actually cost Trump quite a few votes. After he tweeted that, Google had a huge outage around the country. Huge Google outage. Massive one. So what are they doing? No doubt taking their servers down, trying to scrub some incriminating data before anybody can get to it. Why is that? Well, take a look. Big tech is getting hit with all sorts of antitrust investigations right now. Not just at the federal level. The DOJ stated that they're looking into many of these big tech companies for antitrust violations right now. But the states themselves, there is a bipartisan, where'd that article go? There's a bipartisan effort right now. State attorney generals in more than a dozen states are preparing to begin antitrust investigations of the tech giants. This means Google, this means Facebook, this means Amazon. Great. Fantastic. Fantastic. Absolutely. Because these are all the websites censoring us. Just had a post removed from Twitter the other day. I get videos removed from YouTube all the time. YouTube/Google. Posts from Instagram/Facebook. So, very good news. Very good news there. Let's hope some of that suppression lifts by the end of the year, especially before next year's election. I was trying to log into my Twitter on my desktop this morning. Error kept coming up. Error kept coming up. Every single time that happens, my heart sinks. I'm like, no, don't tell me that I got suspended on Twitter. Luckily, I didn't. But moving on here into a few more stories. Thank you for the super chats, my friend. Much appreciated. Let me read these. Thank you. So moving on to just a few more things. How about that new fluoride study? I discussed this in my live stream a couple days ago, but I just want to share with you the articles that these are written in and the context they're trying to spin with it. The Daily Beast reported on this study linking fluoridated water during pregnancy to lower IQs. Now, here's what the study said, and here's what the mainstream media is trying to spin with it, like the Daily Beast here. This study was actually posted in the Journal of the American Medical Association Pediatrics Journal. So it was printed in a JAMA journal, and it was printed with an editor's note, though, which they've really never had to do before. The guy that actually printed this said he's never done that before. But they still let this article out, and it did show that pregnant women drinking fluoridated water during their pregnancy had children with statistically a few points lower of an IQ. Now, many thoughts on this. Number one, well, the spin. Let's first talk about the spin in the mainstream media. They're trying to say, right here, just look at the subline, the findings could undermine public health messaging, fuel conspiracy theorists, and give pregnant women something else to worry about. So the spin, how they're trying to snuff this out, brush it under the rug, is that they're saying, don't worry about this one study. Those anti-fluoridators, they're just like anti-vaxxers. It's literally what it says in here, somewhere in this article. Before there was the anti-vaxxer, there was the anti-fluoridator. This is still all just conspiracy stuff, they're saying. Don't worry about it. And any more research into this stuff is way too tough to do. So it's just, it's nothing. Keep drinking your fluoride, they say. When how interesting in that this one study just studying fluoride actually did find a small drop of a few IQ points, about 3 to 4 to 5, 3.7. So it's just a few, but it's there. Now imagine what many of these studies that the mainstream medical establishment don't do. They don't study chemicals together, okay? Combine that fluoride that you don't just get through your drinking water. How about study fluoride through all sources? Fluoride through the drinking water, fluoride through, let's say we like off-gassing from Teflon pans, fluoride through prescription medication, all the sources, right? Combine that with, say, aluminum. How many sources of aluminum do we have in our everyday lives? You got your vaccines, you've got foods. A lot of foods use aluminum as an anti-caking agent. You've got whatever might be sprayed in those aerosols above our heads. A lot of sources. They don't study those together, do they? And then you've got hundreds of chemicals, thousands of chemicals we encounter every day. So, you're beginning to see how they formulate the studies in a particular way to get the result they want, to then put it out into the public consciousness with the narrative they want. Don't worry about these toxic chemicals. They're not harmful. Studies say, well, those studies suck. You've got your population all twisted, and you're not studying it deep enough, and this is how they frame public opinion. So that's that. Moving on to vaccines that we were just touching on. Time magazine, confused about who should get the HPV vaccine and when? The CDC has new recommendations. Oh, yeah, the CDC and the FDA. Do we really want to trust them with recommendations on health? Guess who gets paid when we're unhealthy? The pharmaceutical companies do. The same pharmaceutical companies that lobby the hell out of the CDC and the FDA. The same pharmaceutical companies that pay off many of these scientists doing the studies. In fact, a lot of the scientists doing these sorts of studies, they don't get grants. They don't get money if they don't get the results that their corporate sponsors want. Many of these doctors in these just typical hospitals, they don't get handouts. They don't get paid vacations. They don't get extra checks for their clinics if they don't have, say, 95% vaccination rate. Just examples like this. It's a totally corrupted system. My recommendations for the HPV vaccine, don't get them. You don't have to listen to me. I don't have a fancy white lab coat on and a plaque with a fancy piece of paper on my wall, but I can promise you I don't get any money from Big Pharma or corporate sponsors. So you can follow the money, do your own research with all of that. And then very last article that I have here for you guys, just a little bit on the aliens, a little bit on the UFOs. Gotta sprinkle that in now and again, help expand people's perspectives. NBC still featuring them because they're just so easy. They're so easy to pick apart with their lies and their disinformation. They ran this article the other day. It says a huge telescope in Hawaii could lead us to alien life. But first, it has to get off the ground. Always look into the NLP, the neuro-linguistic programming that they write in their articles, or that any of these pundits or talking heads in the mainstream media or alternative media always use. Very subtle, but very triggering NLP to your subconscious. They'll frame themselves as being the authorities or saying that things have to happen. This telescope has to get on the ground before it could lead to alien life. Well, here's what's going on. There's this project being done that's getting a lot of resistance on the big island of Hawaii. They're trying to put this giant telescope up there on Mauna Kea, if I'm getting the volcano right there. They're trying to, Mauna Kea, 14,000 feet up. They're trying to put this giant telescope, 30-meter telescope. And I mean, this headline is the example of how lost mainstream science is these days. They can't find answers right under their noses. Truly, they can't find any sort of evidence for extraterrestrial intelligences. Number one, being here in the past. All sorts of evidence for that. But number two, being here now. Still here now. And working in various ways. Both benevolent and malevolent groups. But their disregard for what's right under their noses to push their bullshit, and again also disregard Mother Earth, disregard the indigenous cultures by doing so. It's sickening stuff. They don't care. They don't care about planet Earth or these indigenous cultures and their heritage. They just want their big checks. The scientists want their checks. Construction companies, they want their checks. So they want this huge telescope, and unfortunately, they're probably just ignorant to, like I said, the evidence right under their noses to what they're searching for. Because again, they go through these universities. They go and get these educations that are very expensive, to get these plaques on their walls, to wear their white lab coats and have the alphabet in front of their name. All the little characters in front of their name. It gives them a huge ego, like a massive ego, beyond all proportions. And anything that's outside what they learned at those institutions that are very carefully crafted to brainwash them, if anything's outside of what they learned there, it's false, it's fake, it's disinformation, it's crazy conspiracy stuff, it's pseudoscience, right? So talk about egos. Your doctors, your lawyers, your medical professionals, your scientists, your physicists, your historians. Man, anyway, I could rant on this for a while, but again, be careful who you follow. No false idols. Beware the bearers of false gifts and broken promises. So that's that, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in for this one, for hanging out with me here for a little while. All you guys that caught it live, much appreciated. And like I said, I'll be away from HQ this weekend, but I'll still be checking in, still be uploading content, and then I'll be filming plenty of stuff there to bring you guys next week. Very stoked for that. So if you want to support the independent work I do, you can do so on Patreon. Thank you all, Patreoners. Much appreciated. Link for that will be below. And then check out my website. Sign up for my newsletter there. You can find where else to follow me, my backup channels, my Instagram, my Twitter. And I'm now offering free shipping. Free shipping on my website. So if you want to grab any Orgonite, Ormus, hemp oil, greens powders, free shipping on there. So go check that out. Thank you all. That's all for this one. Check in soon. Stay woke, everybody.